So welcome back to my June Care News update that I usually do, if possible, off my video channel. And this is related to, as you can see before you, my online monthly Carers News update. I'll try and make it brief. Basically, this comes out near the end of the month. The focus is on providing information for unpaid carers nationally across the country. It's not just for unpaid carers, but for those that work with them. So there might be some interesting stuff for them as well. I just start off with the videos that I see that's been released in June. And this is actually during the Carers Week 2022. So there's lots of stuff on Carers Week. Then my own stuff, basically podcast series. I'm actually now designing online courses for carers. Very cheap, only £2, but do ask me if you want to just sign up onto that course. I'm happy to sign you up. My poetry, more on that in a moment. The core aspect of the online news being the latest carer and mental health updates really for June, and then updates from national organisations, information on diversity, specific for mental health, and mental health in general, linked to NHS trusts. But let's try and make this video fairly quick. I'm going to, usually as I started off here, I look for carer videos and what's been released for June. So if we start with our first one, I think this was on, here we go, Carers Hub Lambeth, which actually is close to home, to be honest, next borough for myself. And the video that they just released was looking at supporting carers' wellbeing, using, I believe, what is a Better Mental Health Fund, which enables Carers Hub to offer additional wellbeing support activities for carers in Lambeth. I'm going to play just half a minute of this, really, just to see, give you an idea of what it's about.
The Carers Hub's mindfulness workshops have been ultimate. They gave me a moment of stillness, just not thinking about what I haven't done, what I haven't got, where am I going or where am I not going, just not feeling overwhelmed or tearful or depressed.
Carers are amongst the groups of people who are more at risk of developing mental ill health because of the responsibilities that carry role in isolation, and especially after the pandemic.
So as you can see here, this is really important in a sense of what sort of support carers can get, especially after the pandemic. What's available to them, how it's been beneficial, and I think it's really great that we have care centres using social media to update and let carers know what's available for them. And also for GPs wanting to have a look, might sort of say, okay, they've got something out there for carers, we're going to try and refer to them in that area. So the next video really was looking at basically the session regarding the impact on COVID on unpaid carers and the priorities for recovery. Obviously this is quite a long video, it's going to be an hour and a half nearly, and it's from the Glasgow Council for the Voluntary Sector, basically COVID and unpaid care, what does recovery look like? Play just 15 seconds of this thing to give you an idea of what the focus is.
Welcome everyone, it's lovely to have you here. I'm Sheena Arthur, I'm Partnership Manager at Glasgow Council for the Voluntary Sector, and I'm going to be chairing our session today. It's great to have you all here. Some of you are starting to use the chat, thank you for that, and we are really keen that we get people's input and suggestions and discussion as we go, so please feel free to contribute as you're comfortable.
Near the beginning of the pandemic, our helpline and our services, and I'm sure many other services, were inundated with calls from carers about the actually, quite frankly, the desperate circumstances that they found themselves in.
So as you can see here, it gives, from this webinar and the meeting that they had, it gives more information on how the coronavirus outbreak had affected carers were by rights caring in a vulnerable situation, but the impact it had on them. This is from Carers UK, and it goes into more depth really from the presentation about their latest report, state of caring, the continuing pressure for carers, and how carers need services back up and running and pronto because of the situation that they're facing. So yes, if you can check out the Glasgow CVS, I don't know if they've released any more videos lately. It's quite a loud video. And you can see if you scroll down, you look for COVID and unpaid care. What does recovery look like? So going away from that, I've now started developing my own online courses for carers. This one, what you see here in front of you, is carer networking. And basically, if you scroll down, you learn basically what carer networking is. When I say carer networking, I'm talking about carers coming together and networking, sharing ideas and developing a stronger sense of identity and purpose. And I do see this, but I do feel the majority of carers, and millions of them, unpaid carers, who perhaps have a little idea about the benefits of networking. As you can see, this course is available for £2. You can get this off my site, or contact me and I'll sign you up to it. The course is quite long actually, but it's easy in the sense that it's probably about 4 or 5 hours of content, videos, quizzes, and online teaching with an interactive whiteboard. So the next bit of my section is I've released my book, the poetry book of mental health care. You can see it here, a lovely likeness of me. And this is one of the third books that I've got out there into the public. It's on Amazon, and the idea really is to sort of raise more awareness on how mental health carers, their experiences of trying to cope and care, what I think is important to them, what I felt was important to me when I provided mental health care, came from a mother who developed schizophrenia. Over 100 poems. I made it really cheap, only $6.99, or you can get the Kindle edition, which is even more cheaper. But check that out. Some of my videos off my site will actually have some of the poems taken from the book. Going away from that, what I also put off my online site is stuff from the government. This one here is basically a question raised on how the cost of living, which is going to be a big issue, to be honest, going forward. How is this going to affect a vulnerable category, that being unpaid care, is facing hardship due to the rising cost of living? Now, the Minister of State for the Department of Health and Social Care, Gillian Keegan, actually visited Carers Hub Lambeth, I believe, during Carers Week, and you can see her response. And you might sort of think, so why is Matthew including this in his online news site? And I do want carers to know what the government is doing on the focus of unpaid carers. I won't spend too long on this, but they'll be dotted around my carers news site. Other things was what I was looking around for was how NHS trusts were supporting and promoting carers through Carers Week, and this is for the South West Yorkshire Partnership NHS Foundation Trust. And as you can see, this was dated 23rd of June, how they were supporting carers for Carers Week. So very interesting. I do think the focus should also be on carers, not just patients, but how the families that are supporting their loved ones. A bit of information here saying that they were awarded from the Trust Caring for Carers Fund and supported by the NHS Charities Together. Basically, the funding saw groups such as the Carers Wellbeing Service host meals out and afternoon teas for local carers. So it's just basically making carers feel valued and supported in a sense, and just giving them a sense of I suppose being recognised for all that they do. Going on from that one, we've got this on the again, more stuff on Carers Week, after it was Carers Week in June. So a lot of articles came out about what Carers Week aim was for. Obviously, one of the things was on the rising pressures on unpaid carers, and as it said here, Carers Week 2022 did focus in some aspects on what the rising pressures were, and this one was focused on Wales. As it stated here, Carers Week charities are calling for an urgent 12-month plan of targeted support for unpaid carers. Many carers in Wales and across the UK are struggling with the ongoing impact as well as the negative legacy of the pandemic. As mentioned from the other video that I played earlier, what the impact of that pandemic was for unpaid carers. Next one is the allied health professionals, and they're busy doing their strategy for England, and basically the actual strategy is for the whole of that profession. With the 14 professions within the allied health professions, so it's through the support workers, assistant practitioners, registered professionals, and so on. And if we just have a quick look at that, what does it sort of entailing here? As you can see, it's for June 2022. Contents is basically the strategy's purpose, ongoing or overarching principles, consultation, which is very important for any strategy, and how they would deliver that and what the areas of focus are. One thing that interests me is the focus one is people first. And when you hear sort of comments like that, I'm thinking of Trump with his America First thing. But I do think this is so important, really, because the idea is how can allied health professionals deliver or continue to deliver the important aspects of health benefits for the community and strengthening and promoting their own community as well. So have a look when you get a chance. It's not only just on the mental health aspect I want to focus on, but in general health. The mental health and health are linked, there's no doubt about it. So let's go on to the next bit. As you know, I just talked about my latest book, so it makes sense that I sort of try and develop some sort of author circle, especially on caring in its sense. And I think it's only fair, if you're trying to develop such a circle, you help promote the ideals of what other authors who are experiencing care of had experienced providing unpaid care. So I've put a link here about the books of those, some of them in my circle, and have a read of them if you get the chance. Really good books. Long and Winding Road by Rob Fran, stuff by Jane Matthews, the Carers Handbook, Jane Lawrence, Are You Okay? In there. So worth reading. This list will continue to grow, and I was just received news of funding, I suppose, for carer authors, and if they receive an award for their book, they'll receive this funding. I'll put that in my next news update for July. So this is now we're heading to our ethnic BAME section and equality, and this is on, I think it's NHS England's interactive calendar of what's happening throughout the year. This is actually the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Events calendar. This is from the Northern Care Alliance and NHS Foundation Trust. But I've put this in my newsletter. Lots of stuff taken. Well, to be honest, we've gone past these months. We're now in June, but it gives you information on what they're trying to add. Anything regarding diversity, ethnicity, religion, equality, So, and the idea of what that awareness was trying to do, if people wanted to take part or learn more about it. So it helps to know what's going to be happening in future, and see, if you can attend really, and any special days to note. So lots of really good stuff here. So as you can see, they did mention Carers Week, which is good, from 6th June, and what's going to be happening in July. So still kind of on our ethnic mental health section. This one is released by David Harewood on his book, Maybe I Don't Belong Here, a memoir of race, identity, breakdown and recovery. 8 hours and 42 minutes. Obviously you don't have to listen to it all the way through, but I'm sure it's a really good book. It's worth having a listen. I'm sure some people will just copy that up, they'll listen through that. So yeah, that's available for Audible. Then the next bit is mental health policy. So this is now in the mental health section of my news site. So this is mental health policy in England. Just more of the actual report. You can download it, and basically they break it down section by section. So it's obviously about section 1 being the impact of the pandemic on the population's mental health, and NHS and the government's response to that. Section 2, the timeline on the recent government and NHS mental health policies in England. Section 3 is on the expenditure, mental health expenditure. Interests regarding the section 4 that covers the health inequalities in mental health. And then the guidance on the use of force in mental health settings, which links to Seni's law. So yes, certainly download, have a look at that. Lots of important information to be kept up to date on. Again, this was released early on in June. Regards on the focus of the allied mental health professionals, one of the things I've been looking for from Out of Trust is how do they let the public know, or members know, or patients know about AMHPs. And this is from the Humber Teaching and Foundation Trust, stating, look, meet our AMPs in a sense, basically, who are they, what are they doing? Explain to the public or those interested how they provide that service. So very important that trusts in some sense say, look, this is what approved mental health professionals do. And they do a lot, to be honest. So yeah, worth having a look. So I've got it mixed up. It's not allied health professionals. This is the approved mental health professionals. So basically, it's in a sense, you can learn about your rights if you're using the services, if you're sectioned. If not, you still, carers can also use them as well in a sense of what are the rights of their loved ones. And to be honest, it's so important that though patients or services are given access to them. Last one, which is really important, I think, this is the Mind, National Mental Health Charity, and their response to the government's proposals on the Human Rights Act. And Mind feels that they're just weakening them. So this is released on the 22nd of June, and they felt that that these changes will make it harder for people to enforce the human rights in court, and will limit obligations on public bodies to protect human rights, especially when it comes to the European Court of Human Rights. So this is their response, basically. The proposals put forward by the government to weaken human rights are incredibly concerning, especially if you're suffering mental ill health. How does it affect someone being detained? So yes, this is basically the my news updates. I'll be doing videos for, if I can, for July, August and monthly to go along with my online carers news site. If you're interested in signing up, click on the news site and sign up here. Just need your email address, your name, and basically that's it. be added to the mailing list. Updates, news updates ever since. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.